Oh! What's going on, guys? What's going on? So sorry, so sorry, so sorry. Again, I was talking right there, but I don't know if you guys was able to hear me, but probably not. But I think everything should be fine right now. All right, good. We're good to go. We're good to go. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. We're back. We're back. We're back. Live taping. We'll try to come back here as usual. Sometimes I'm on the road, as you've seen over the past few days, but I try to put out as much content as possible. Uh, Today we're gonna have fun as usual. We're gonna have like 10 different things I want to cover. I want to make them very quick, concise. I don't want to waste your time because I prefer that my time is not wasted as well. All right, and then we'll keep it simple. All right. So without any further ado, let's get into it. These are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, welcome back. So I definitely have to work on the lightings here because you guys deserve the best. Let's talk about this first video. I'm gonna play the video, then we'll talk about that. How is that? Is that good? All right.
Woman that's not picked yet be doing wifely duties for a man.
Okay, so a woman that's not picked yet, no, she should not be doing wifely duties.
And that's all I'm saying. You can show him, you can give him peace, you can show him think, whatever. But if you think going over his house and doing his laundry and doing all these extra things when you're not his wife yet is going to guarantee that you get picked, plenty of women have seen that that's not true.
So should the woman that's not picked yet be doing wifely duties?
You should be showing him, but
Wait,
you
wait,
doing
wait.
them as if you're his wife.
Wait, Kayla, because
I've never done any man's laundry like that.
I know this is a hot spot for you, Kayla, because this came up before. How do you know when you picked?
What do you mean?
When you get married, right?
When you get married.
When he asks you to be his wife, when you, or depending on what you want, people who don't believe in marriage and just want long-term committed relationships, when he asks you,
I'm not going against you because I think people in this day and age move a little bit different. So what they would determine to be picked may be a little bit different. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, these days they determine like in a relationship.
So that's not fair. And Q, you date, so hush up.
I would rather be a pick Misha than a pass Misha, someone that gets passed around. But
can we define
pick Mishas get passed around?
All right, let's talk about this really quickly. All right, pick Misha, pass Misha. Oh my God, the internet, social media is undefeated when it comes to the terminologies. Everyone has a mic. So or anyone can they can turn on the mic just right there on their phone. And obviously, there's a lot of opinions flying around, and the opinions that will go viral next, we just don't know. And we don't know how much it will affect you and I as individuals. Should a woman act like, let's take it piece by piece and then dissect it.
Should a woman that's not picked yet be doing wifely duties for a man?
Should a woman that's not picked yet be doing wifely duties for a man? It's one of those things that, again, we're trying to pretend like it's something you can turn off and on, right? If you're a wife, you're a wife. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, okay? Even if you're not yet picked, okay? It's the same thing for husbands. If you're a husband, you are a husband. Another way that we tend to say that is wife material, husband material, right? It's not something that's so easy. Maybe some could. I never say never, right? It's not something that is so easy to just turn off. If you're a wife, it's an extremely hard thing. Let me say, if you're a husband, it's an extremely hard thing to turn off. Even when you try to turn it off, it's like running from your own shadow again. You can't really run from your own shadow. It's like, so I'm going to flip it since I'm a man, right? It's like you've heard that men shouldn't simp, right? You shouldn't do certain things for women. And then you met a girl that you really like. And then you're trying, if you're a husband material, you're going to have a hard time not doing things for her. It's not doing things for her. It's making her life easier, bringing value to her, right? You're going to have a hard time just naturally trying to turn that off. It's the same thing with wife, right? If you're a wife material, as in you see yourself being somebody's wife, quote unquote wifely duty, whatever that is, in this time and age. If you're naturally that person, I'm not saying it's impossible for you to turn that off if you meet a guy. I would question, why do you feel the need to turn that off? What is it that's making you feel insecure about that situation that you feel the need to turn off your wifely duties, characteristics, or character? Why do you feel the need to turn that off? That's what I would want to know. I'll be interested in that, right? Because again, if you feel so safe and you feel secure in a situation, you're just being yourself. Naturally, you're just being yourself. The last thing you're thinking about is like, usually the reason for that is because people have gone through bad experiences. If you've gone through terrible experiences, in your own opinion, then you feel like if I turn this part of me off, maybe that will make the person. It's basically controlling behavior. That's not influence. Controlling behavior is basically, you may want to use them interchangeably, but one has value, one doesn't have value. One doesn't pay attention to the value that you bring to the other person. Influence pays particular attention to the value that you bring to the other person. And yes, in a positive way, you can actually use that. You can use that as a persuasive thing, to create the result you're looking for, but also from a standpoint of bringing value to that other person. So the idea that you're just going to turn off your wifely duties because this person is not yet an husband is cap. I declare it cap. Because if that's really you, if you're truly a wife, you will have a hard time. At least, if not impossible, you will have a hard time turning that off when you meet a person that you feel safe and secure with. If you don't feel safe and secure with them, then let's address that. Because that's a different conversation entirely, right?
Okay, so a woman that's not picked yet, no, she should not be doing wifely duties.
And that's all I'm
So even Rilla says, no, she should not be. You're right. It's a should, but she will be if she's truly a wife. She'll be doing those things. If she's not a wife, which again you can go in between, you can become not being a wife because you've gone through a terrible experience. If you've gone through a terrible experience, you will naturally not want to, serve the other person because you feel like it's because you serve them that's making them act out of place. But that's actually has nothing. It could just be that person. That person may just not be a husband, right? But you take that energy, you take it to the next relationship, and you're effectively hurting not just that person, but yourself, right? So the idea that no, if you're not really a wife, you shouldn't be doing wifely duties is I'm not saying it's wrong. It's actually right because you use the word should. But if you're truly a wife, you will find yourself doing those things naturally, right? Because you feel safe, secure, and naturally you would want to serve that person.
saying. You can show him, you can give him peace, you can show him think, whatever.
What does it mean to be showing him? I don't understand. Showing him that your wifely duties. Even kids, when you're raising kids, you better be showing them by way of examples. Your words have very little effect. They're watching what you're doing. It's the same thing in a romantic relationship. Your actions speak louder than your words. You may say, I love you to death. If she doesn't feel like you love her, you're not going to create the result you're looking for.
But if you think going over his house and doing his laundry and doing all these extra things when you're not his wife yet is going to guarantee that.
What does it mean, extra things? How are you doing? Our bonjour to you as well. Right? What does it mean to be doing the extra thing? Again, you're calling it extra because you feel already like you're in a subjugated place. You're not feeling safe. That's why you're overthinking. This is all overthinking romantic relationships, right? Good morning, Mr. Knowledge and Relationships. Thanks for stopping by, brother. Right?
You get picked. Plenty of women have seen that that's not true.
So should the woman that's not picked yet?
So because you're doing those things, don't guarantee that you will be picked. That's absolutely correct. But again, you shouldn't be doing it because you want to be picked. That's the problem right there. You really should not be doing these things because you want to get picked. All right. So yeah, ultimately, I'll say this: should you be doing those things? I don't know. I don't think you get to control that. I think the only thing you get to control is to pick a space where you are feeling safe and secure to be willing to give value to other people. That's all you should be trying to control, because that works for you and then it works for the other person. Trying to manipulate people or weaponize what you have to bring to people to control them, that's always going to backfire. Unfortunately, that's always going to backfire. All right. So with that being said, we're just going to go ahead and move on to the next segment. And these are sizable books. They're minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, so let's move on into this one. Let's play this video and let's talk about it too.
There are men out there that are willing to accommodate, because there
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but we got displaced. Let's get back to it. Sorry about that. I'm going to play that again right now.
there are men out there that are willing to accommodate, because there are men that like the quote unquote bitches that like put them in their place and like are like, you know, the quote unquote mean girls, right? So then on the other side of that, like it's a lot of pushback.
No, they don't. Don't ever believe it. Don't ever believe that there's a man that like that.
There are
Oh
men.
no,
that
there are
like
men
that.
who they
There's
like that
definitely
toxic
men
love.
that like that shit.
It's
No,
fine.
There are men that find that a
Are those
norm.
men
I'm
or
dead
males?
serious.
Listen.
Let me tell you something.
Those men don't
Yes,
like
Susie.
that. They subject themselves to it because they don't feel like they have any other choice.
Let me tell
They
you
don't
something.
like it. Just because it happens does not mean that they like
Okay,
it.
let me change
No,
my
there are
verbiage.
toxic
Anton, I
men that like
disagree.
Maybe they don't
Anton.
like it, but it's their norm, and they're not used to there being
Okay,
a
but I just
peaceful,
wanted to correct
balanced,
that. Just because they
like,
subject
in a
themselves to
household.
it, or they weak, or they do this happy wife, happy life thing, or whatever, so on and so forth,
And it's
whatever their
not even
circumstances
that.
is, whatever it is, they
Sometimes
don't
chaos
want
is their
that.
norm.
No guy,
Just
no
like there
man.
are women
It
that feel
doesn't
like
matter
if
what a
dudes
man does.
don't
Listen.
abuse them,
Regardless of what his
emotionally,
circumstance
physically,
is,
All right, so let's talk about this for a second here. There are men. Basically, what she said is that there are men out there, right, that likes to be in toxic, abusive situationship, right? Men who like bitches and men who like mean girls. She said, right? All right, so I've always said this. It's a little tricky. It's a little tricky. It's not exactly as straightforward as Anton tried to put it. But the truth is that some of the things that attract us, so there's a difference between you attract something and you like something. Those are two different things, right? There's nobody that's outrightly coming out here and say, I like toxic situation. Do they attract toxic situations? Yes. That happens all the time to the best of us, right? That's why I keep saying, don't put yourself on a pedestal. Instead, just listen to this conversation long and long enough. Case studies, real life case studies, like I'm doing right here, right? And then eventually you will adjust accordingly. But the idea that you're just going to take an ideology and then master it, regurgitate it, and that, no, you need to practice this. So the truth is that people do attract toxic situations, even if they don't like it. I think what she's trying to say is that there are men that are attracted, or they find it attractive. They find I'll be honest with you. For me, myself, right? A woman who is potty mouthed, that can be sexy, right? Sometimes we call it sassy. We call it, what's the other thing that we use? We have all these different terminologies that we use, but when you flip that thing, right, and you become the person on the receiving end of it, it becomes toxic. Like you may find a girl that you think she's sassy, she's spicy, she's a fun person. You saw her being sassy to someone else and you found that attractive. Guess what? When you engage in a romantic relationship with this person, right? When you engage with them, eventually you're going to be on the receiving end of that. Okay, and then you're going to receive that as toxic, and I think that's what she's talking about. I think that's what she's talking about. She's not, see, this is a show, so I get it, right? It's all jokes and fun until it gets real, right? The reality is that the best people in the world sometimes, best guys in the world sometimes attract toxic situations, because what we attract or what we find attractive often becomes what we resent the most. Often, like a whole lot of times. And that's what she's talking about, right?
There are men out there that are willing to accommodate, because there are men that like the quote unquote bitches that like put them in their place. And
so she said willing to accommodate it. I wouldn't say willing to. I think it goes back to attraction. That, like, the most powerful thing, emotions, the most powerful thing, the same thing that we don't like to talk about. We all like to think we're logical, but we're all full of shit, but we will justify it, right, by using the words, and somehow because you use the words you think you're right. No, I'm looking at your actions, right? So they don't necessarily accommodate, right, but they may find themselves accommodating it, and then it sounds like, wait, we're adults, why do we find ourselves accommodating something we don't want to accommodate? That's the power of emotions. We all do this shit, right? And if you are aware that we do it, then that's half the battle won, because then you have a better chances of controlling it. But if you're in denial that we don't, like, we're just logical, we just don't, I'm an adult. If you're in denial, then basically you're saying there's nothing to control. And that's why we run into all these problems, because we're not aware of our incapabilities,
and like are like, the quote unquote mean girls, right? So then on the other side of that, like it's a lot of pushback.
No, they don't. Don't ever believe it. Don't ever believe that there's a man that like that.
There are
Oh
men.
no, there are
So I agree with him in the sense of, like, I know what you're trying to say, but they're attracting it doesn't mean they like that. It doesn't mean they want to accommodate that. Sometimes they're not, he called it, they're weak. Yes, people can have weak moments. You really like this girl, you don't want to kick her to the curb, but you know that what you're getting right now is not really what it's supposed to be. You know that what you're receiving is toxic, right? We all find ourselves in that situation. Let's stop the cap. The awareness is your best leverage point. Just be aware that you are capable of doing the wrong thing because you're caught up in your emotions.
men, they
There
like
are
that
definitely
toxic
men
love.
that like that
No,
shit.
it's
No, no, no,
time.
There are men that find that
Are
a
those
norm.
men
I'm
or
dead
males?
serious.
Listen.
Let me tell you
Those
something.
those men don't
Hands
like
easy.
that. They subject themselves to it because they don't feel like they have any other choice.
Let me tell
They
you
don't
something.
like.
Well, they may not have any other choice. Is it possible that, for example, somebody has children with this woman, right? They may feel feelings, emotions, like they don't have any other choice. Could they have other choices? Yes. Is that a guarantee that they have other choices? No. Is it possible that this guy is just on a couch right now? It's a fat, short, and ugly guy, and he doesn't feel like he can find another wife? Yes. That's the reality of a lot of people, right? Should he take the risk and not put his home together and then go see if he can find a better woman? Absolutely not. Usually the grass isn't greener on the other side. It's actually him that needs to work on himself and his ability to attract the right type of behavior from the wife he's married. Yes. If you've married the person already, there's a higher chance that you're not going to find a better woman or man out there. Okay? Higher chance. Okay? Because everyone is has been influenced by this, quote unquote, let me use the quote unquote toxic society that we're in. So you're better off learning how to attract, learning how to control attraction, meaning control yourself, self-control, attraction, learning how it works. You have a better chance at doing that than discarding a person that's a part of your life already, meaning a person that's actually a part of you, and then thinking you're going to find a better person. Are there situations where you may just find a better person when it's too toxic? Absolutely. Absolutely. We can assess that situation and then say, you know what, this situation is too toxic. If it becomes you're pouring from an empty cup, absolutely, there are also better choices out there. There are better options. As a matter of fact, during the course of your marriage for the rest of your life, you should always feel like somebody that has better options. That doesn't mean it has to be exercised. Let's be guarded. All right. What's going on, Osmosive? Long time. I haven't seen you in a minute. Good to see you here, bro. Yeah.
Just because it happens does not mean that they like
Okay,
it.
let me change my verbiage.
Anton, I disagree.
Maybe they don't like
Anton.
it, but it's their norm, and they're not used to there being.
Okay, but I just
equal
wanted to correct
balance.
that. Just because they
Like,
subject
in a
themselves to
household.
it, or they weak, or they do this happy wife, happy life thing, or whatever.
Here we go. Happy wife, happy life. I get it. Anton hates that. But it's the reality. Okay? Anton, you have situations where you just say, babe, whatever you got, whatever you want. That's happy wife, happy life. Stop the cap. Just all together, let's stop the cap. Okay? Yeah, whatever you want, babe. Why do you do that? Because you know you also benefit from that. That's why you do that. Right? So it's easy to throw that statement into a box and say it's completely always wrong. No, it's not. It's actually never wrong if you're in the right context. The context could be wrong. If you're hurting yourself because you're doing happy wife, happy life, you're wrong. It's not the statement that's wrong. You're wrong. Absolutely. Whoever that person is that's pouring from an empty cup, it's not necessarily wrong, but it's not beneficial, right? Because I actually don't like the word right and wrong when we're talking about romantic context as well. I like to keep it on the fence, because again, when it comes to romance, you may need to be on either side. And absolute are terrible. Absolute and extremes are the enemy of relationships in general. And I keep saying that, and I will keep saying that. So let's move on to the next segment. And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, welcome back. So let's talk about a chameleon running games. Is a chameleon PickMes is running games. Is that true or false, right? So I have the lovely Courtney Michelle here. We're gonna react to a short video. I think she was being interviewed by another platform. I forgot the name now, but I think let's talk about this.
What a chameleon is a woman running game. So if you can't see game from a mile away, then you will get hooked on a chameleon or someone that's pandering to you. But they have always said if you listen to a woman long enough, she'll tell on herself. All you gotta do is listen. Just listen. What has she been saying? Has she said something that now it doesn't look correct? She said something, then last week she said something completely different. Because it's easy. Everything is recorded. People still tell me about videos I did a year ago. And I'm like, I said that, but it's been always consistent.
All right. So there are two things there are two things she said in this video, right? That one I agree with and one I disagree with. Okay. They actually, for example, the topic of this video that a chameleon PickMes is running games, I disagree with that, right? But it also depends on what you mean by game. It's like, what does she mean by game, right? They have an agenda. Oh, is that really an agenda, right? See, it goes back to intentions. Are they intentionally doing this? Is this a deliberate behavior? Or it's just a behavior? It's a behavior nonetheless, okay? It's a type of character, right? But is it deliberate? Is it intentional? See, when you take these things as intentional, the way you're going to react to them is going to be wrong, okay? It's not going to be the most beneficial because you will feel attacked. And the natural thing you do when you feel attacked is that you defend yourself. Defense, on the other hand, feels like offense. And then you find yourself in a war zone. You find yourself in a conflict, right? And then usually if you find yourself in this situation, you usually lack the skill set to resolve conflict as well. And this is why it's a vicious cycle. This is why you go in circle with a person you love, and then it's just, you find yourself in a very, very bad place and you are a good person, but you're seeing the other person as a bad person, but the other person actually see themselves as a good person, there's a highly likelihood, from what I know, there's a high likelihood that they are actually a good person, and they just feel attacked as well. And then that's why we need conflict resolution as a skill set in romantic relationships. And for the most part, I'm talking about romantic relationships. Everyone else is capping, right? Everyone wants to act like they're talking about their community. It's how we build our communities. It's all bullshit. It's all personal and selfish. Okay, at least that's the lowest level where all of this starts from. If you don't know how to manage the personal relationships in your life, the community is always going to be in chaos, at least from your standpoint. Okay, because again, you project the way you see it is how you see it. So I agree that we're not listening enough, because if you listen long enough, women will tell you what the real deal is. But then, do you have the skill set to listen? Does listening to you mean you're quiet? If listening to me means you're quiet, you got it wrong. Listening doesn't mean you're quiet. Listening means you're actively listening to what they're saying, not just what they're saying, the words, but what is going on behind the scenes. Reading minds. Yes. Some people say, do I have to learn how to read minds? Yes, especially if you're a man. To a certain extent, yes, you have to learn how to listen behind the scenes of what they're saying. Where are they coming from? They said something that's so offensive, but where could they be coming from? If you're not patient enough to hear this, if you're busy trying to hold accountable with that without paying attention to where they're coming from, you're going to get it wrong, right? The first person to hold accountable is you. Back at you. Hold yourself accountable. Are you able to listen to what people are saying and where they're coming from? What's going on behind the scenes? Are you patient enough to do that? We're not talking about physical altercations. We're talking about emotions. We're talking about how it makes you feel when they said what they said. How it made them feel when they said when you said what you said. That's what we're talking about. For as long as we're talking about that, all is fair, because there's no physical altercation. Everything in love and war, all is fair. So I don't think chameleon PickMes are running game. I think they're also looking for some sort of answers. They're looking to solve a problem, and then they hear a bunch of men talking about we want women to be logical. They don't say it exactly like that, but then they say like that's what they, and then women try to be logical, and then sexual polarity disappears because you're actively trying to make the woman masculine. It disappears, and then you start to ask her, she's a chameleon, because eventually with time, like she said, the true colors show. She will push back on certain things, especially if you find yourself in a romantic relationship with her. She's going to show you that she's a woman. It's only a matter of time. And if you're not listening, then you say, I knew it, she's a chameleon. No, she wasn't a chameleon. You're not listening. See, I kind of agree. I disagree. I agree with the part that she's deliberately running games. I don't think so. I think it's a natural thing to do if you're looking for answers, and men tell you one thing and then you act it, and then it backfires. I think the worst thing a man could do is try to ask women to be logical. How do we say that? We usually say we need them to be adult. You're asking women to be logical. You're effectively asking women to be masculine, instead of you learning the skill set of how to influence, learning the skills of learning how to recognize the feminine energy when it's resting in itself. It's chaotic, beautiful chaos. But if you don't know how to do that and you're asking her to be logical, she's going to feel not safe. Masculine is going to come out. Am I blaming you for her masculine coming out? See, that's your feminine energy interpreting it that way. I am showing you your leverage point when you're engaged in a romantic context with a woman. That's what I'm showing you, right? It's not a matter of who's at fault, who's to blame. It's not about condemnation, blame, condemnation, judgment, blame, right and wrong. False, all irrelevant. Because again, when emotions are involved, you can always remove yourself. If you stay in it, all is fair. If all is fair, all right? So I agree and I disagree, but I get where she's coming from, and she's absolutely correct that if you're listening long enough, you will find the real truth. And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com,
So I think that's
realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right. So whatever a man says is true. Is that true or false? Let's talk about it. Again, I still have the lovely Courtney Michelle here. Let's play this video really quickly, and then let's see what's going on.
different. So I think that's different. And I think what now is being different is, I'm not on a, and I've never been, but I think people are starting to see it, is that I'm not just on the man bandwagon, that I'm just not jumping on and saying whatever the man says, it must be true. Truth is truth. It's not relative to a gender. And so that's what I'm on. I'm on truth. I'm on transparency. And I just want to have honest conversations. So I think this makes me different. I see a lot of women in this space that just will make videos, just the man is right, the man is right, the man is right. I mean, that's cool, but sometimes they're wrong. And it's okay to say that. But it gets scary because once you disagree, or they see you out of pocket, or they see you not in what they think that you need to be, then you get this. And at this point, I'm embracing it. You call me what you want, but I'm not shutting the hell up.
All right. So again, let's talk about this for a second here. So it goes back to intentions, right? I think a lot of people that are claiming to be intentional are full of shit. Okay, 99. If you use that word, including myself, 99% of the time you're not intentional. You're not. Okay, you're capping big time, right? But maybe not intentionally too, right? A lot of people are capping, not intentionally. It's the word intentions for me. Intentions, boundaries, all these different buzzwords we throw around that are disconnected from our actions. The actions speak louder. The greatest truth ever. I disagree with that truth is truth. No, truth is not truth. I know, right? By those words, exactly. Like, there's nothing wrong with those statements. In action, truth is not truth. Most people that are claiming to be telling the truth are full of shit. They're telling their own version of the truth. Their own version of the truth is a function of how they were raised, their culture, their religion, who they are, personalities, how they feel, right? But yet, they're all running around. You see two people in an argument, they're arguing with each other, and one says, but that's the truth, and the other one says, that's the truth. You see what I mean? Truth is not truth. These are just different versions of truth all over the place, right? But I agree with her that I've watched her on the Lapeef network, and she is consistent. I could see, like a lot of people, obviously, when she was, she's advocating for men. She's, she want to make sure that the men are safe. I can appreciate that. You listen to 2 episodes, you're like, I like her. If you're full of shit yourself, you're like, I like her, but you haven't heard when she pushes back against you, and then suddenly she's a chameleon. No, you're full of shit. She's not a chameleon. She's exactly what she is, a woman. And sometimes she will disagree with you. You got a problem with that? That's your problem. That's your problem. We got to face that. Right. Now, she been guilty of sometimes. We've all been guilty of that. Sometimes you feel, because I caught myself a few times. I'm like, I disagree with that, but I'm not speaking up. It's not a woman thing. It's not a pick me thing. Right. Sometimes you're like, okay, I want to make sure I listen to what these people are saying. But then eventually you find yourself, you're about to be pondering. You're about to be pondering. Okay. In reality, you disagree. Right. So for me personally, I am an active listener. I like to listen to what people are saying and like to connect what I'm saying with what they're saying. But that can come off as pandering. right? But eventually, the true colors, the real truth shows up as results. Truth is a function of time and results. Everything else, including your words, is bullshit. All right? Everything else, including our words. Our words are powerful. Don't get me wrong. Words have meanings and they're powerful, but only to a certain extent. I have to match that with your action, right? Over time, not just your action today. Like when people say feminine man, bullshit. Sometimes you may be in your feminine energy. It's okay, right? But if you're across board, you're feminine, there's nothing wrong with that either. It's only wrong if you're not aware and you're not trying to force something down the society's throat, right? It's wrong when a wrong result is created. You can't claim that it's wrong until a wrong type of result is created. How do you see results? It's a function of time. You have to wait long enough, right?
So I think that's different. And I think what now is being different is, I'm not on a, and I've never been, but
She says she's never been. In the beginning, it came off that way, but that's again, men not listening long enough, right? In the beginning, it was a short period of time. You couldn't possibly know a person, actually ever, even if you're married to them. You'll continue to know them on a regular basis, right? How much more you don't even know this person really in reality. You don't know them. You don't know what they stand like. You don't know their posture. You only see the head on a YouTube video, right? But a lot of men, because they liked what she said in the beginning, then they start to say chameleon. Like, no, let's slow down on the chameleon thing. Like everything else, we overdo it. Black people, Nigerian people, we overdo everything. Slow down. Once everybody's using the terminology, you start running with it. You don't even process what you're saying, right?
I think people are starting to see it is that I'm not just on the man bandwagon, that I'm just not jumping on and saying whatever the man says, it must be true.
No, that's false by default. Before we even start to process that, whatever a man says is true, says woo. Whatever a particular place is true, no, it's not. It could be true, but it's not always true. If it was like that, then that person becomes a god. All we have to do is worship that person, right? But clearly that's not the case, right? It's not the case.
Truth is truth. It's not relative to a gender. And so that's what I'm on. I'm on truth. I'm on transparency. And
so truth is not relative to a gender. That complete sentence is right, is correct, is true, right? But truth is truth by itself? No, absolutely not. I need context. When you tell me that's the truth, I need context. When you say, but this is the truth, I need context based on what moral values, based on what moral standards. What's your religion? Well, how were you raised? Oh, okay. In my religion, that is not true right there, right? The only thing that's true is that 1 is a 1 and 0 is a 0. And that's only true within the context of computer engineering. That's my background.
I just want to have honest conversations. So I think this makes me different. I see a lot of women in this space that just will make videos, just the man is right, the man is right, the man is right. I mean, that's cool, but sometimes they're wrong.
I've seen those women too. I don't fault them. I think they don't know any better, but I've seen them. Like I've listened to long enough video and it just seems like they're pandering to men. Eventually, time will tell, right? Their true colors comes out regardless, right? And it doesn't mean they were wrong. Again, if you don't listen long enough, you don't know people. You just don't know people. You don't know people, right?
And it's okay to say that, but it gets scary because once you disagree or they see you out of pocket or they see...
She's speaking to the men now. If men, a lot of the men in the manosphere space, you disagree with them, is war. And that's sad. But again, not really, because again, it's a bunch of little boys following gurus, and it's bullshit. So I don't really bother about that. Protect yourself. Again, when you're standing up for people, like you're pandering to men, or you're standing up for men, you're advocating for men. Just be aware that the next time you push against something that's just not true, yes, it's gonna come back with some war, right? That's sad because we want men to be able to think straight and know what I'm saying right now, but that's also terrible expectations. It's a lot of little people on the internet that looks like regular humans in real life. There's a bunch of weird people on the internet. It's okay. It's whatever. whatever, man. You know.
You not in what they think that you need to be, then you get this.
Then they call you the chameleon, right? Then it becomes a matter of the chameleon. But you get the gist, right? Just be guarded when you're on the internet. The internet is full of all types of people. So maybe I should slow down on saying weird people. But, you know, we all have our own little weirdness. But it gets weird on the internet, especially in the echo chambers. But like this place can easily become an echo chamber because I'm just the one talking, right? But I try my best. I try my best. I do try my best. And these are sizable books. They're minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author.
Just
Those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, welcome back, men of prestige, ladies and gentlemen. So we're about to talk about this. We're going to talk a little bit about this DJ Envy and Gia Casey. I have a video that I did earlier where I talked a little bit about it, you know, but this time around, I also wanted to get, because I actually received a comment. Let me see if I can find that comment really quickly from one of our people here. If you come here, please hit the like button, subscribe, you know, yeah, all of that. Let me share my screen so I can show you the comment, because I like to appreciate those people that are also commenting on this page. There you go, right there. Let's talk about this. There you go. All right, so I did this video. It's called Beta or Not. Gia and DJ Envy full of shit. Emasculated? What? Anyway, so please go watch that video. The algorithms is not showing a lot of love, but we're gonna keep consistent. So let's do that, right? Let's see. Speaking facts in this video, not that one. Let's see. Okay. All right, I think it was my brother Knowledge and Relationship says, so when women fake orgasms, is it because of them or because of us? All right, so I decided to go dig up this video and then actually play it, and let's
just no.
So this video right here, let's watch it, and then we'll talk about that, and then I'll also talk about the answer that I gave him in a more elaborate manner. So let's get to it.
I'm not.
Right.
Just no. I'm
Right.
not. I'm talking about your mentality overall, like,
All around.
just in life. Like, he lives to make me happy, and he puts his best foot forward in that.
Happy wife, happy life.
So I would see him trying and really going to work, and I'm sure so many women can relate. Like, you want to reward that man for that work, and the only reward that you have to offer is an orgasm. But even if I didn't feel it, I would still be performative. So yes, I was faking it.
Performative.
But once you start, how do you stop?
Right.
How do you climb back out of that rabbit hole? You can't really have a conversation about it now. So I actually did it to myself. But what's more important is the fact that it had nothing to do with him.
Right.
He was doing everything that a man could.
All right, so let's talk about it. So again, she said it. Being performative, again, it's not necessarily 100% absolute intentional. It's just sometimes where you find yourself when you really care about a person and you want to make sure they're good, right? If you know that your woman likes it when you show certain smile on your face, or you're not too stuck up in all the struggles of life, you give that smile. Does that make it performative? Does that make it fake? You know, when it gets down to sex, maybe, right? We don't want to be going through 10 years of marriage and it's all fake orgasms, right? That's not what we plan for, but it's the reality of many people, you know? Does that make him emasculated? No. That's terrible. How do we go so far to the extreme every time we hear real life situations that's going on with actual people, right? Actual people in marriages Let's not forget that we would like to hear people that have been divorced more so than people that have been married. It's a sad reality, right? We enjoy listening to the toxic, bad experiences. The storytelling are always top notch and much more entertaining in that situation. But when it comes down to people that are actually doing exactly what you wanted, what you've always wanted, then we will try to dug them out and try to drag it through the mud. We use words like beta, emasculated. So, to answer my brother's question, let's go back to that question really quickly. To answer his question, I said it's because of both. Is it because of the man or the woman when the woman fakes orgasm? That's asking, is it whose fault is it? I don't think faults are relevant. At least I make them irrelevant. Okay, even if they're relevant, I make them irrelevant when it comes to love and war. When it comes to romantic, emotional relationships, I make them irrelevant because once you make it somebody's fault, right? Once you make it somebody's fault, then you're forced to judge them. You're forced to condemn them. Sometimes you'll cap and say, no, I'm just condemning the behavior. No, you're full of shit. You're condemning them. How do they feel on their end when you're condemning their behavior? Like shit or good? Empowered or better or worse? Those are questions that you're responsible to answer if you're in some kind of relationship with this person. If it's just people you don't care about, knock yourself out. But even that has repercussions. Even that has its own consequences. And that's just the reality. That's the reality, right? So, again, let me go back here. So that's why I said it's because of both. Women don't enjoy hurting our feelings. They may hurt our feelings. They don't enjoy hurting our feelings. If they are hurting our feelings and they don't enjoy hurting our feelings, that leaves you with fewer, like you're closer to the solution. Rather than saying, you hurt my feelings, and you mean that you meant to hurt my feelings, right? You see what I'm saying? So, but nonetheless, dangerous. Yes, dangerous behavior because it's self-deprivation and breeds resentment. Not because she wants to hurt you. It's dangerous behavior because if you're faking orgasms, meaning you're not enjoying sex, and you've been doing that for 10 years, you will build resentments. And then when it comes out really terribly. Like she said, it came out, I think if you go further into the actual video, it came out in the middle of an argument. It comes out wrong when you're trying to hurt the other person deliberately, but not really because you've been hurt. And hurt people hurt people. You know what I'm saying? Read the nuances. I'm talking about the nuances, right? So most men, including myself, that's me, simply don't know what we're doing initially when it comes to sex. You don't know what you're doing. Not like you didn't know what you were doing with another woman. You may have had good experience and know what you're doing with another woman, but every woman is different. And usually because most men are terrible at listening, especially in sex, right? They're not able to satisfy. If you don't even know what you're trying to satisfy, what makes her, what gives her pleasure, what she enjoys, right? You will see a woman like Gia is not your typical woman. She's very Gia. She's very, very logical in her assessment of things, and for her to be able to exude feminine energy, that's not an easy thing to do. But she seems like she does it naturally. Not every woman is able to explain or find what makes her happy. But if you're a man that has skills, you're able to ask the right questions, verbally and non-verbal, and find what makes her happy. And then you're able to do that over and over and still be dynamic because that can change in phases too. Right? But that's a different class entirely. But you get the point. But if you have the skills, then you're able to bring that out of her, even if she's not your Gia Casey, meaning she's very logical and all this kind of stuff that usually brings masculine, but she manages to be logical and be feminine at the same time. That is not an easy energy to exude. Right? So fault, guilt, blame, and judgment and condemnation are irrelevant in this matter. So it's neither one person's fault or the other. It's just something that you need to simply learn. All right. And again, thanks to my brother, I think it was knowledge and knowledge and relationships for stopping by. I really appreciate. you for stopping by. But yes, that was that right there, and I still need to pick up the book and read the book. I think it's going to be a good book, but let's be careful. Some of the best examples that you have, they share some of their worst moments, and then we drag them with those moments. And then, if you really care about our community and the society, you're making it worse by doing that. That's what we've been doing essentially. Yes. What's going on to the Harris family? What's going on? Yeah. Thanks for stopping by, brother. Thank you. And sis, thank you. Yeah. So let's get on to the next segment. Let's keep it moving. We got a couple more things to cover here today, and I'm looking for the right thing to click. And these are sizable books. They're minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, so
she should have kept that between them two. It's very similar to what Jada Pinkett said about Will Smith. Jada said
we still have Gia and DJ Envy, but we're gonna bring Pink Book Lessons into it, right? Let's keep
this to everybody. She should have kept that between them two. It's very similar to what Jada Pinkett said about Will Smith. Jada said that Will wasn't pleasing her, and since then she's gone on to say a lot of disrespectful things. And that's been a very horrible look for Will and detrimental to the family as a whole. Just a lot of acting out and things that stem from that. So that's the first part. I don't think that Gia should have shared that with everybody. And then the second thing, the reason why they're sharing it is because they're trying to get publicity to sell their books. They're hoping to be able to get a reality show. I know they've been trying to get one for a long time. And that is all the wrong move. If they want to keep their family intact, if they want to protect their family, protect the kids, do not put all your business out there and overshare and overexpose the whole family. DJ Envy, he's very sensitive about his family. And in order
all right, so I agree with Pink Book Lessons in terms of oversharing. Okay, as a matter of fact, my wife and I wrote a book. We have the other platform, Lola and Ola, where her and I just talk, right? We wrote this book called Get My Marriage Back for people who are struggling in marriage and want to increase their chances of putting their family back together. It's something that we did successfully. So that's why we decided to write. It's free. You can just go to getmymarriageback.com. We wrote a 175 pages book on it, right? So it's also available on Amazon. There's an audiobook out there, in those regular platforms. But anyway, she's right in terms of you shouldn't overshare. But it's kind of hard not to overshare if you have a sense of responsibility to your community, right? If you want to, if you want to build a community, right, and you want to be a good example of a marriage in a community, what do you want me to do? Write a book of a bunch of theories and there's no real stories behind them, like real stories of crisis, and then ending up in triumph, right? Ending up being successful, right? It's not my fault that you dwell on the negative part of the story and you don't complete the whole thing, which means we have a successful marriage. So she said something there. She said the same thing that happened with Will Smith. I don't know what she meant by that. I think she's talking about the oversharing. And this is the only thing this is one of the 2 or 3 things that I faulted Will Smith for. I don't fault Will Smith for being able to put his family together like everyone else have done, right? I think it's terrible that the Black community will rather tear down a marriage than build it up. I think it's sad. I think it's sad that we project our own bullshit on them and call it toxic just in the name of entertainment. But it is what it is. I'm not mad if you're just trying to get money. If that's getting you more clicks, kudos to you. Congratulations to you. But over here, I'm going to spell out the real deal. Yes, the real thing that this book could be guilty of, if guilt was a thing at all, I don't think it's a thing if they're selling books, right? the only thing they could be guilty of is oversharing. But you have to share. You have to share real life stories. One of the things that's terrible about some of the most popular platforms when it comes to relationships and marriages and manosphere is that people are just talking ideologies. There's no real life examples, case studies being assessed. For the most part, right? People just talking in theories. But when it gets down to it, a marriage that's this is another 25 years marriage or so, 25 years marriage or so. And yet, the only thing we can pay attention to is the fact that she was faking orgasms for 10 years. Newsflash, most people will experience that. In fact, a lot of women, not most, because I don't know the exact numbers right now, will never experience orgasms, at least not in a not penetrative, whatever that is, not true penetration, right? Should we blame the men for that? No. Blame, guilt, condemnation, judgment, faults, rights, wrong. Those things are irrelevant. You can learn from it. That's what they're trying to do, right? So you don't end up in that kind of situation. You can learn from it, right? So when she says
to everybody, she should have kept that between them two. It's very similar to what Jada Pinkett.
No, I don't think she should have kept it between them two. I think they discussed it. I think they're doing what they're supposed to do. I think a certain echo chamber group of people on the internet are trying to use it to drag them. I don't think it matters, just like it did not matter to Will Smith and Jada. They ended up in India. They ended up saying, okay, I guess an opportunity to heal, right? People even speculating on them divorcing, right? But I don't think so. If they were going to divorce, they would have done it. If they divorced, to be because there were other issues before. And I don't think the issues were any of the ones that people have speculated about. I think it has nothing to do with August Alsina, right? Yeah. But this is even a stronger couple, at least from looking from outside in. So this is not Will and Jada now. How come we're actively trying to tear that marriage down when this could be a good example? Okay, so what? The fake orgasm. So what?
Said about Will Smith. Jada said that Will wasn't pleasing her. And since then, she's going.
She never said that. She never said that. At least not that context, right? What she was talking about is when most married couple will go through this. When you find this, the only problem here is that they're sharing it. But most married couple will go through this when you're trying to satisfy your partner or you don't feel satisfied with the person you married. It doesn't feel the same as the first 2 years of the marriage. Why should that be such a big news? I know why. Because we could use it to drag them, right? So she never said Will Smith doesn't satisfy her. She never said that. Not in that context, right? And anybody who is not looking for some level of clout would have said, oh yeah, they must have meant something else. But if you're looking for clouds, hey, knock yourself out.
Going on to say a lot of disrespectful things. And that's been a very horrible look for Will.
I agree. A lot of things that, again, if you don't have insights, you would take it and run with it, and you see that she's disrespectful him, disrespecting him. But the truth is that this couple have agreed to share things that most couples would never share. You will never know. This is like the realest, authentic, not authentic, but transparent. Most couples that have lasted this long will ever share, but yet we'll rather dwell on dragging them with it. Just pay attention to that. That's all I'm saying, right? You could have been right. Jada could be toxic. But just pay attention to the fact that most people prefer to drag them with this part of their story and forget the part that they're still together 25 years later. We're doing the same thing with another couple.
And detrimental to the family as a whole.
And it's not even 3 weeks yet. We're not 3 weeks past Jada and Will's story. And I said this, right? But of course, the algorithm hasn't really shined enough light on this, but we'll continue to work on this. If you're here, I appreciate you. And I appreciate that you're able to hear this, because then you can connect with other people and share with them. But the truth is that I think we enjoy dragging people more, right? Nigerians will call it the bows bass bows, right? We enjoy that more than the real truth. What's going on here? Okay, these people have results. They're sharing the worst part of their story, right? What can we learn from that? What is it that they have today? But what we do is like we zone in on that terrible part of the story, and then we drag ourselves, not even them, because they don't seem to be bothered, to be honest. Then we drag ourselves as a society, as a community with it. That's what we're doing.
Oh, just a lot of acting out and things that stem from that. So that's the first part. I don't think that Gia should have shared that with their.
Well, she's telling the story. She has to sell books. They make money from this. They're entertainers. It is what it is, all right? I think we should be more concerned about how come we tend to drag our best in the mud. I think we should be more concerned about that. And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right.
Let's look at the results. Those countries that don't have traditions, are they not better? Are you not going to beg them for food? Please, 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 please. Let's even imagine that as this Africa bad, all of us sit down inside, we say we buy there. You are running to Canada. I'm sure that I'm sure it's in a foreign country talking about African traditions. Sit down in Africa and fix the traditions. On Biedani, go into Saloton, Kolo embassy Kundenu, Power the Nuton Salo, on Soro. What have your traditions done for you? The Chinese are atheists.
All right, so let's talk about this. This guy right here, his name is Daddy Freeze. Let me introduce you to Daddy Freeze. I'm a fan of Daddy Freeze. Okay, I'll tell you. As far back as my wife and I started our first channel, 2009, right? And at that time, we discussed more so entertainment. I'm a content creator to the core. Like, I've lost channels and stuff like that. I've started all over again and over again. And the only reason why you're able to start over and over again is because, this is just who you are. So I appreciate that. But anyway, let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about Daddy Freeze. His name is Daddy Freeze. He's a legendary on-air personality, OAP. On-air personality means a radio talk show host. Not TV. I'm not sure if it was ever on a TV show. But basically, in recent times, he preaches from the Bible, and kicks against the tithing and all this kind of Asian stuff. But also like a Bible scholar. Like, he's one of the best Bible scholars that I know. Not particularly because I agree with his interpretations, but he's a scholar. Like, he's studying this stuff, right? So back then, when we started that channel, we would end up at an entertainment event in New York City. My wife and I, he gave us a drop, and we used that drop for years. I was actually trying to look for it, but I don't know where that is. It's a long time ago. But what is he talking about here? He suggested a second husband. That's gonna be my next video. We're gonna talk about that in the next segment here. He suggested a matter of second husband, right? Because this guy, I'm gonna show you. Let me share my screen with you so we can talk about this. Bring you up to speed with it. Bring you up to speed with this. Let's see. This guy, Yule Edochie. I did a video about him, but on the Clips channel, so you may want to check that out. We have 2 channels, just so you know. We have 700 plus subscribers now, but this one has only 350. The other one actually blew past this. It's about 400 plus or so. But let me go ahead and share this with you. Share the screen with you. There you go. Boom. There you go. So let's talk about this. Let me introduce you, ladies and gentlemen, my American friends. Let me introduce you some stars in Africa. These are African superstars, just so you know. But I'm going to bring you up to speed with what's going on with them, what that has to do with manhood, relationships, polygamy. We all want to run to Africa, to Thailand, and go do polygamy, because that will solve all of our relationship problems, right? We all fantasize about that. Not me, but when I say we, you know what we mean, right? But anyway, so here we go. This guy right here, his name is Yule Edochie. Yule Edochie. This guy right here. There you go. That's him right there, Yule Edochie. So over the past week or so, he came out and basically put his baby's picture on the internet and say, hey, congratulations. Let me actually find him on Instagram. Let's go to Instagram. Go look that up directly on Instagram, right? So he actually said, let me introduce my son to the world, right? This him right here. Is that video here? There you go. This one right here. All right. So this, okay, let me see. Yeah. So he says, it's time for the world to meet my son. His name is Star DK Munachimso Yule Edochie, right? That's his name, Yule Edochie. Born by my second wife. So everybody knew that he was married, you know, and this is the lady right here. She's an actress as well. She's going to become a superstar now. I didn't know her, but she's apparently an actress. My wife is familiar with them and she knew who she was. So apparently she's now the second wife to this man. So of course the whole internet went crazy. He broke the internet. Second wife. You know, a lot of men that's been fantasizing about having a second wife, you know, usually it's people that are not happy in their marriage that fantasize about this, or, you know, young men that have trouble with relationship with women. But let's be frank. I'm not that because I'm holy. It's because I'm socialized in a certain way. Like I always say, no one should be putting themselves at any kind of pedestal. We're all human beings, okay? But anyway, somebody pulled it off. But then there were speculations that came out and said, okay, it looks like this guy impregnated a side chick and then flipped it, because it's allowed in that society in Nigeria, and tried to flip it to he flipped it to a second wife. You're allowed to do that. But there's also laws in Nigeria, because they adopted the Western laws, that he could end up 7 years in jail if he actually legally married the first wife. But that's beside. And that's what Daddy Freeze was talking about. Okay. So that's what this gentleman was talking about. Him.
Let's look at the results. Those countries that don't have traditions, are they not?
So he's talked. So people will say, Daddy Freeze, this guy that you're looking at, is more so westernized in his ideologies, more so than tradition. And people were coming in his comment and were saying things like, "Is our tradition is allowed in our tradition," and stuff like that. And he's saying, and that's what he was talking about. And then he basically spazzed out on these people. I'll play the first video for you on the next segment. He spazzed out on these people and say, "What are you talking about tradition?" He's basically talking for women here. And I partially agree with him. I think culture is a powerful thing and you can't just throw it away. The culture and tradition of a certain group of people is a powerful thing, and the idea of throwing it away doesn't work either. But I agree that, yes, women need a little bit more advocate from men in terms of equity, not equality within the romantic context. That's bullshit that would never happen. Romantic relationships is always at any point in time going to feel like it's one side bigger than the other, and then within certain topics and certain areas of life, financially one person may be higher, and spiritually one person may be higher. It's too many moving variables. So asking for equality in an emotional relationship is just stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, what you're looking for is sexual polarity. What you're looking for is polarity, somebody that complements you, not equality. Equality is stupid in romantic relationship. But in the society at large, when it comes to workplaces and stuff like that, that's why some people say it's not equality, it's equity. Absolutely. If somebody is a human being, equity is required. It's best for all of us, right? At the end of the day. And you have to learn how to separate the two. All right. So that's what he's talking about. So let me play that video again so it can maybe make sense. He's speaking some Yoruba in it and stuff like that, but he's crushing the people that are advocating for tradition and culture out. We need a balance. It's neither one nor the two.
Better. Are you not going to beg them for food? Please.
So he's saying if you go adopt Western and you're cursing Western ideologies out, are you still not gonna beg them for food, like all the food aids and all this kind of stuff that American ships out to different third world countries around the world? That's real. You're not gonna discard that or discount that and then claim that you want your tradition. Like, come on, you have to pick one or the other if you're going to be all anal about any side. Okay?
Please. Let's even imagine that as this Africa bad, all of us sit down inside, we say we buy there. You are running to Canada. I'm sure that
So now, for those, I play this for you FBAs, you have a tradition, quote unquote, African man, right? He's mixed with a white woman from Romania. He's mixed with a Nigerian. So an African man basically is saying, go back to your damn country and fix it. So he's also saying it's not just Americans or American FBAs that say that. You know, it's not just so you know, okay?
I'm sure he's in a foreign country talking about African traditions. Sit down in Africa.
Afofundidere means dumb.
And fix the traditions.
The algorithms can't pick up this curse words, so it's okay.
Going to
Saloton means all of you have run away. That means from your own country to Canada, to America, to Western world, right? A lot of people that are commenting that they want tradition are people that have run away from their countries. These are real things. We can't cap about this. So when Tariq Nasheed is talking about it, there's some truth to it. There's also some divisive thing to it. But it's okay. We will all survive.
What have your traditions done for you? The Chinese are atheists.
And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, so this was the original video, okay, of him, again, Daddy Freeze, you know, the on-air personality in Nigeria, popular, is no longer on radio anymore, on public on regular radio, tertiary radio they call it, or terrestrial radio, I'm not sure, something like that. He's no longer on traditional radio. He's now just YouTube. You can check him out. You know, he preaches, he talks about trendy topics and stuff like that. But this is him talking and advocating for women in the beginning of that video, saying that women should just go get second husband too. I'm like, second husband? This is where I disagree with him. Again, it's not a matter of equality. It's not a matter of whataboutism, right? We don't get to do that as human beings. A man is different from a woman. That's always going to be that case. It's part of our major characteristics of human beings, socialization, all right? And also survival, survival instinct, and you know, because of biology, right? And so many variables, right, that we really can't afford to be capping about, right? Let me play the video.
Life in Nigeria offers women very poor options. Sadly, life in Nigeria offers women very poor options. I went on to say, just to strike a fair balance, our women ought to start marrying second husbands. For once, let's stop tilting scripture and tradition in the favor of misogyny and patriarchy. Rather, we should embrace the words of Christ from Matthew 22:39 that say, love your neighbor as yourself. If we were to follow this devoid of prejudice and stereotyping, then it will make absolute sense if women could also have other husbands. Because if you truly loved your wife as much as you love yourself, like scripture instructs, then why shouldn't she be polygamous if you opt to be? And a lot of people are saying that if Freeze, leave y'all. He brought his matter to social media. You need to understand what is my walk. Let me tell you what my walk is for those of you that don't know.
So he's saying that this guy right here, he brought his own matters to social media. So that gives us the right to talk about it. I agree. You can create content around it once you bring it to social media, especially as a public figure. So I agree with that. But again, right there in that video, he was actively using a verse in the Bible to manipulate his own ideologies into another person's lifestyle. Now, could this guy be wrong? Remember, this is never about right and wrong. I always tell you that, right? Could this guy be wrong? Could he be actively trying to manipulate his first wife into a polygamy? Because there's actually another platform that brought out a tweet that the wife, let me just go ahead and show you this really quickly, that his wife, that indicated that the wife was not happy with it. I think the wife said something about God will punish the two of you. When you say that, that's curse. That's a curse. That's cursing a person out. Okay, in Nigeria language, where you say God will punish, I mean, you understand that in English, right? So, but just in context, it's like somebody is pissed off at you. It's like saying "fuck you," right? That's what it's like, right? So, let me go back here. So if we go back here, I wanted to go back to his Instagram page and then showed you some of his posts since he posted that, right? So he posted this right, and I think this was the, okay, that's not the second wife. I showed you second wife earlier. This is the first wife, right? So he goes right after he posted this picture of the son, a brand new son, because he has other children with his first wife, older children like 16, 17, 18, older teenage years, right? And right after that, he posted his second wife. So when at the end of that video, he kept saying, people are saying, leave y'all. The name of this guy is Edochie, y'all, not Yule, Edochie, right? And this guy posted his wife and he said, number one, meaning the first wife. So in Nigeria, it is very important that I say this. If you're the first wife, no one will ever take your position if you stay in that marriage. If you stay in that polygamy marriage, your first position is your first position, okay? At least from an ideology standpoint, at least from a paper standpoint, okay? You're number one and you are the senior and you will always be the senior. Now, in reality, in that family, right, if you keep them in the same house, there's jealousy, okay? There's envy, there is crisis, there is conflict, right? Imagine waking up every day, okay, maybe every other day or every other week, to two women fighting in your hallway, in the hallway of your mansion. That's not fun. I don't care what you say. Okay. So that's why if you're terrible at maintaining a relationship with a woman and you go try to practice polygamy, you will basically multiply what you already got. It's not going to be better just because it's polygamy. Polygamy is absolutely, monogamy is a Western construct. It is what it is, right? But most Nigerians, okay, at least are westernized enough to, that's their thing now. They've been socialized, at least in the past 2 generations, to thinking that that's our norm. It wasn't our norm. It was the norm to have polygamy. Now, the idea that people just went and just find a wife because it's time for second wife, like they deliberately, intentionally do it, is false. A lot of times it's a side chick that got flipped into a second wife or third wife, right? It's just people being people still. Okay, it doesn't make any difference. So polygamy doesn't fix relationship issues, is the point, right? So he posted this, but then it looks like he's trying to save face. That's the speculation. Okay, so now back to Daddy Freeze, the radio guy, right? He's now saying, you know what, if we're going to be unfair, because he's speculating that the wife is not subscribing to the first wife, right? Because even the second wife, quote unquote, has not posted anything about it. At least the last time I checked, right? Let me see here. All right, so let's go back to here. All right, so let's go back to Daddy Freeze.
Life in Nigeria.
So that's what he was saying here, that, you know, second wife, but then bringing Bible verse to say, love your neighbor as yourself. That sounded like he was trying to manipulate the scriptures, really, from a religion standpoint, into culture. You know, the thing is that the reality is what we're seeing, the results were created, right? And you can avoid reality all you want, but you cannot avoid the consequences of avoiding reality.
Nigeria offers women very poor options. I went on to say, just to strike a fair balance, our women ought to start marrying second husbands. For once,
that's not balanced because the women are not socialized like that. An average woman would tell you that's terrible. I don't want a second husband. So that's cap. Again, in the spirit of actively pandering to women, you're missing it, Daddy Freeze. Most women will not subscribe to what you're talking about because they haven't been socialized to be that. The women that want that, they don't share that. They go get a second husband. We just hear it as news later. But most women don't want that. So again, I don't know what the point of this is. If it's just to create content, kudos to you. Congratulations. I'm right behind you. But I will be saying my truth here, always.
Let's stop tilting scripture and tradition in the favor of misogyny and patriarchy.
Misogyny and patriarchy, guess who perpetuates them the most? Women. Does it make it right or wrong? I think it's irrelevant. I think people are just people.
Rather, we should embrace the words of Christ from Matthew 22:39 that say, love your neighbor as yourself. If we were to follow this devoid of prejudice and stereotyping, then it will make...
We all practice the same thing. Let's go ahead and move on to the next segment. And these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3-times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that.
What we did on Wednesday, we shook the world and still shaking it. The energy you all applied and still applying is unmatchable. The energy is united. The energy knows no tribe, no religion, no gender. The energy is coming from the north, from the south, from the east, and the west, and indeed, the whole world. Once again, the energy is united. We're everywhere. We're on TV stations, we're on radio stations, we're on newspapers, we're on blogs, internet, YouTube, committees, WhatsApp groups, we're in churches, we're in the hood, we're in the streets. We are on the lips of everyone. We are everywhere. Oh yes. The energy is unparalleled. My dear Nigerians, we can make use of this energy positively. I cannot do this alone. We cannot do this alone. We need you. I need you. Nigeria needs you. Yes. My fellow Nigerians, please, I appeal to you. Buy me the presidential form, and together we will take back our country and fix it. Yes. My name is Yule, Edochie, and I'm running for president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 2023. Thank you, and God bless Nigeria. God bless Africa, and God bless the world. Thank you. Did you see what we did?
I don't know what just happened, right? But are we supposed to take him seriously? Right? So again, let's go back. Let me bring you up to speed again. This is the same guy we're still talking about, right? You know, he brought out he announced to the world he has a second wife with a child, right? That was on Wednesday, right? And then suddenly he's running for president. All of this was about chasing clout. Because he talked about being on TV stations, internet, and all this stuff. And the voice. Let me be honest with you. His voice is something that Nigerians have been in love with for years, for decades. At least 2 decades or so. Almost, at least. Right? So, and I feel like I saw somewhere a few days ago that somebody said, oh, this guy's voice, he can run for president. People will fall for it. And I'm like, and I look at the performance he just delivered, right? And I'm like, was that him trying to seduce Nigerians into become a president? And then I look at the poster, this poster right here, right? Give the youth a chance. It's not exactly a youth. This guy is about my age. I'm 42. Somewhere between 40 and 45, right? So that's not exactly a youth. He can be a president, absolutely. But he's a career actor. He's an actor, right? So now he's now running for president, right? After the polygamy announcement and all this, he shook the world. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if I should take that seriously. I couldn't take that seriously. That's why I was laughing. It's very, very hard for me to take that seriously. It's extremely too hard for me to take that seriously. So I thank you all for your concern towards my family, the love, concern, and support you all have shown me and my family this past few days. Is overwhelming. Truly appreciated. Thank you. I promise you all that all is well, and any issues arising in my family I will sort out amicably, as it is my personal problem. For now, let's focus on again, the point here is that polygamy does not solve your problems. Okay? We can joke around, it's fun, it's all fun and games, I guess, but it doesn't. It just doesn't solve our problems. Humans will always be humans. We will have relational problems, and it is necessary. It's a must if you're going to thrive. That you must learn the skills of handling conflict, and doing that regardless of what context you decided to subscribe to. Polygamy, monogamy, America, westernized, tradition, whatever you want to call it. All that is bullshit at the end of the day. Humans will always be humans, and will always be humans. And when it comes down to survival, it is what it is. When we get caught up in our emotions, we're all the same across board. It's just how we tell the story is different from people to people, from generations to generations, from culture to culture. It varies in how we tell that story, in how we express ourselves. But at the core of things, we're extremely predictable. Okay? I promise you. So he has problems. For now, let's focus on the general problem that affects us all, which is the situation of our country. So he's trying to wrap it up in one. He's going to run for president, right? No other country to call our own. Therefore, we must make it work. I agree with that. We pain, we die here. I agree. I just don't know if I should take it too seriously, right? Also, the party that he's running on, the political party he's running on, is not known anywhere. So the chances is going to even make it is slim to almost none. So again, to me, all of this is all a big joke. As you can see, this video was released only 5 hours ago from the time I'm taping this. So, and then he has this video of him running on a treadmill, big announcement coming, big announcement coming. There's a lot of attention here. And then when I look at this, he's charging $100K per post. So if you want to advertise here, because it's getting a lot of attention on this page right now, he's advertising. Is this all clout just for business? How much is 100K? Let me show you what 100K means in dollars. 100,000 naira to dollars, to US dollars. $240. So he's using this to get money. That's what this was all about. Okay, to each his own. To each his own, but it's whatever, man. It's whatever. But this all looks like a joke to me, except the fact that he's trying to flip a side chick to that looks real to me, but it is what it is. Well, we'll see. And these are sizable books. They're minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that.
Even
All
as
right.
I don't marry.
This guy, let me introduce you to this guy first. Actually, no, let's go ahead and play the video, and then we'll talk about it in a quick second here. Let's go.
For 41 years, I would say that even as I don't marry for 41 years, I would say that I don't know what love is. Do you? However, I do know about commitment. For me, love can't guarantee the success of a relationship. Love can't make you stick to one person all year round. Oh no. And cheating isn't always the product of not loving your partner. In fact, loving someone doesn't guarantee not falling in love with another person. Now let me tell you something. I've seen more beautiful women, romantic, sexy, curvy women for the past 41 years. In those times, love did not help me. Self-control did. Commitment kept me going. So no matter how you feel for someone else, the person you're committed, even as...
So I'm changing my mind. Okay? I'm changing my mind. One thing is that I have always felt some type of way about before this very moment. One thing I've always felt some type of way about was if love was enough or not. I always believe love is enough. I've always believed love is enough, and I still believe that. But I've noticed that people's definition of love is all over the place, and it's becoming necessary that I adjust accordingly. Okay. So what is love? Is love enough? Or do we need self-control and commitment? Obviously, we need self-control and commitment. But when you talk about true love and you talk about real love, does it involve self-control and commitment? Of course. So again, when you say love is not enough, and then you say we need self-control and commitment, real love is already a part of that. Real love is committed. Real love is full of self-control, right? It's deliberate, it's intentional. It's not some kind of affection that you fall under, some kind of spell or anointing that you fall under. Most people use love in that context. A lot of people use love in that context. As a matter of fact, you're not going to be able to comprehend the true meaning of love, the real meaning of love, until you are in a relationship that requires that. And that usually means you fall flat on your face, and then you wake up, and then you learn. And then if you're lucky enough, you're still in that situation to now nurture that relationship with real love, as opposed to be in love. In love is a beautiful feeling. I would never discount it. I think it's terrible in this social construct for anyone to discount the importance of in love, the in love experience, meaning you're in love with a person. You're not controlling it. It's not intentional. It's not deliberate, but you feel that butterflies. You feel for this person. You feel like you can see yourself with them in a moment for life, even though it's bullshit. Because it's a feeling, right? But that's our bullshit. It's not your bullshit. It's our bullshit, right? But it's real. And that's something we all want to feel, because it also drives everything else. It makes you want to give without being particular about give and take. See, real love is about giving and not give and take, right? When you get into that conversation of give and take, that's basically not real love, all right? That's something else entirely. That's some bullshit that we're teaching ourselves. Is really give and receive. You have to learn how to receive, because sometimes a person is communicating love to you and you don't realize they're speaking their own love language, meaning you're not giving, right? You're not giving, but you're trying to take. When it comes to especially marriage, this is something you have to really sit down, process, and think about, because it's going to affect the rest of your life. And this gentleman, his name is Charlie Boy. He's a legendary He looks good for his age, right? He's an eccentric kind of guy, so he's not gonna dress like a normal guy or anything like that. But he's been married for 41 years, and that's what he was talking about here. That you can love a person, that doesn't mean you're not able to fall in love with another person. See, there's a difference, right? So if I go back to, let me go back to Google really quickly and show you love. What is love? Meaning. Love meaning, right? So let's look at what Google, this is what most people do. And it's lame behavior, by the way. But let's join ourselves in the lameness for a second, right? I'm going to add this, and let's look at this for a second. This is what Google has to say. Let me refresh so you can know that I'm live. Love is an intense feeling and of deep affection. See, this meaning right here will not work in a marriage, okay? Because you're not always going to feel a deep sense of affection. So this is the in love experience. I love this feeling too. And if I don't have it, I'm not staying in marriage. You get it? I don't expect a woman who is not in love with me to stay in marriage with me. That's bullshit. In the name of duty and responsibility. Fuck duty and responsibility. Okay? I need both. Yes, I need to have my cake and eat it too. And you too, ladies, you should want your cake and eat it too when it comes to this. Okay? And if you're not getting that, it is still your responsibility to learn how to seduce your partner and attract what you're looking for. So you don't get to blame it on the other person. Because again, in love and war, all is fair. Here's another one. A great interest and pleasure in something. Again, feelings. Right? And then there's the verb here. Feel deep affection for someone. This cannot be a verb in reality. We can use it to express how we feel. But in terms of I love you, I'm just expressing that I feel love. That's what that is. Okay? So, but it's capped to say I can just deliberately turn that on because it's duty. We just don't live in that society any much longer. You need both because people have choices. Okay? People have options. Even if they don't have options, the reality TV shows is making them feel like they have options. And then you will fuck your relationship and marriage up before you find out that it was wrong. Before you find out that it's not green, the grass is not greener on the other side. So these are the kind of things that set people up for unrealistic expectations. Like, enjoy very much. So again, it's synonyms, right? But when we're talking about romantic context, especially in marriage, when we're talking in that context, it's very important.
Even as
it's very important that we understand the nuances and all the difference in betweens, that creates what we call emotions. The very experience that we call human experience is full of all of these different things. We have to be aware of this, right? There is you love a person, there is you're in love with a person, and he's talking about both in this video. And I want to play that video again because I feel like there's a lot of lesson in there, and then we can call it a day.
I don't marry for 41 years, I would say that I don't know what love is.
So I don't know what love is the most honest thing ever. Because the way I always say, we have a whole book on it, on real love. The only source of true love is God, higher self. Whatever your higher self is, I don't know if you call it God or not. You're not capable of unconditional love as a person. People always want to say women are not capable of unconditional. I don't think any human being is capable of unconditional love by themselves without submission to some kind of higher vision, higher calling, something like that, something of that nature, right? Some kind of ideology that's bigger than ideologies, right?
Do you? However, I do know about commitment. For me, love can't guarantee the success of a relationship.
This context, love cannot guarantee. But what he's talking about is being in love with a person, right? But if we go back to the scriptural meaning of love, right? Let me see if I can find that really quickly and not waste too much time on that. If we go back to the scriptural meaning of love meaning in the Bible, let's see what we can find, right? Let's go back to that. Okay, right here. We could find it, pull it right up. Love is patient, right? Patience requires self-control. You have to commit it because patience run out, right? That's why I talk about infinite patience, especially if you're a man. Infinite patience. Love is blind. Yes, that's a fact. Oh, not blind. That's that's the feelings, right? Love is kind, rather, right? It does not envy, right? So as a human being, you will feel envy sometimes. But then when you remember the scriptural, meaning if your higher sense of vision is spiritually God, right? In the Christian way, you remember this verse, then you know that I shouldn't be envy. Let me go take a shower because my feelings, I'm caught up in my feelings. Let me fix that. You're able to catch yourself because of self-awareness. It does not boast, right? So even though my brother on Lapeef Network, Chaotic Truth, was saying men are divine, we don't say that. We don't say it out in words. Okay, you say it out in words, you will basically attract masculine energy from women. I'm sorry. It speaks. It is not proud. Proud in the sense of, arrogance. Not proud as in black and proud. Not that part. Again, nuances. Again, context matters, right? Right? It does not dishonor orders. It is not self-seeking. These are love. These are the type of love that is required in a marriage. You don't. That's the way these things work. Okay, these are the reality, not what you say, not what you and I say. That's why I'm referencing all of these different things, right? It's very important that you understand this. All right.
Love can make you stick to one person all year round. Oh no. And cheating isn't always the product of not loving your partner.
Cheating is not always the product of loving your partner. You can love a person. If you're not in love with them, you will cheat. The people that cheat on you is somebody that's not in love with you. Okay? That doesn't mean they don't love you, but that doesn't mean they're not wrong. Right? Because I know you want me to say that part. That doesn't mean it wasn't a choice. But while you're right in all of that, it doesn't really help you. Let's get to the level where we can help each other, right? In these conversations, because in love and war, all is fair. I'm telling you. So anyway, like I always say, there's no right and wrong when it comes to these topics. If there was, it's very easy. People will be going to jail, okay, for just doing the wrong, right? But clearly, the government is not interested in this part of your life. They want you to figure this part out, right? So you just getting stuck on your own and saying, you're wrong. It's wrong to cheat. It is just evil to do that. Listen, if you're talking about somebody that you're not in a romantic relationship with, that's fine. If we're talking about some kind of relationship that you're personally in, I think you're not helping yourself. You're not getting to the part of the conversation you need to engage in. You need to be engaged in the part of the conversation where you're able to see beyond the right and wrong, judgment, condemnation, guilt, right? And all those different things. Hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. And I'll see you on the next one. And peace.